Batman and Superman. It's two of the most recognizable comic book heroes ever. We've seen them around since 1931 when we had Superman on the cover of Action Comics throwing a bus, and 1932 when Batman came in with Detective Comics as the Dark Knight. These two gentlemen have been around for 70 years, and arguably everyone in geekdom keeps fighting back and forth of who is the better superhero. Here to tell you today, Batman, without a doubt, is the better superhero. Now, I understand at first glance that it's very easy to say that Superman would be better. In fact, I totally understand where that would be coming from. Superman, Krypton's last son, super strength, super speed, the ability to fly, heat vision, laser vision, cooling breath. And Batman has a grappling hook and a batarang and a really cool cape. I understand that Superman would be much easier to pick in this matter, but I believe that when we stand back and look at methodology, motivation, and a few other case studies of comparison within the comic book universe, it's very plain to see that at the end of the day, Batman is a superb superhero based on the said factors, as well as if we were to put ourselves in the comic book universe, Batman might be the better bet to bet on. The fight between these two has been going on for decades. If anyone in here is a comic book reader, or you know anyone that is a comic book reader, or myself having read hundreds if not thousands of comic books, we like to fantasize about what would happen in a big fight. And they have fought on many occasions, but overall it's been pretty tied and storylines change from issue to issue. So let's get started by looking at some of the factors, beginning with motivation. Batman. We need to look quickly into the background history of these two characters to understand where they are coming from. Granted, there are volumes written on this matter, but in short, here's a few things that they agree on. Batman was born into a wealthy family called the Wayne family. As you know, Batman's real name, Bruce Wayne. His family, about a couple hundred years ago, there's really no set date in the comic books, essentially they invested into Gotham City through various assets. And as Gotham City grew, they got the paid back, and therefore they are the unofficial royalty of Gotham City. Batman, the only son to his parents, no siblings whatsoever, he grew up listening to his father tell him about how the city was so great. But unfortunately, in modern times, with the downturn of economy, rise of political corruption, and a huge crime wave, the city was starting to go on a downturn, and his father had plans to restore it. Unfortunately, one night after they took a turn down a back alley, his parents were killed by an average mugger. No supervillain, no one who was specifically out to get them, just someone looking for a buck. With this, Batman was totally scarred, and he decided that for the next 10 years he would spend his life traveling around the world teaching himself how to become something. He didn't know what, but he knew that he needed to save the town. This was his family's legacy. This was something his folks will never see, but something he's got to prove. He's not just some rich kid. He's got passion, he's got fire, so he spent 10 years traveling around the world training. We'll get back to his training in a little bit here. Then we have here a nice landscape of the planet of Krypton. Krypton, of course, is where Krypton's last son, also known as Kal-El, also known as Superman, Clark Kent, pick your alias, this is his homeworld. It's from a galaxy far, far away. It's known for their advanced civilization, their crystal technology, both for architecture and intelligence, as well as their red sun. Now, if anyone in here has ever taken a simple astronomy class, you know that red giant suns eventually will expand, eating up everything, collapse in, supernova, and that's the end of it. Well, this was the problem with their planet. Superman's father knew that doom was coming, no one else believed him. So he surveyed the universe, looking for a planet where he could send his one and only son in a capsule. He puts his son in the capsule, shoots him off, and the planet was destroyed. Irradiated pieces of the planet Krypton, some end up on this planet, some end up on others, but essentially those contain the environment from which his home planet is and will make him mortal. Kryptonite, the glowing green element that we always see in the comics, it always looks really cool. His spaceship just so happens to land in Smallville, Kansas. If it landed in Russia, who knows what he'd be fighting for. But it lands in Smallville, Kansas, and is recovered by Ma and Pa Kent, who had no children but decided to raise him as if they were his own. Over time, Clark Kent felt very alienated because he could just lift cars when he was 3 years old. Not too many other kids could do that. Never really fit in. One day when he was old enough, his parents told him about his history, showed him a spacecraft, and his craft reactivated, came back to life. Evidently it had a crystal recording of his father, if you will, a technological ghost. And his father told him, this is the one place you got to live. This is the only place in the universe we could find for you. The people, humans, are a little bit behind us, so you should protect them, show them how to live, and protect us at all costs. This is your only chance. You're not going to get any others. So right off the bat, when we look at the two motivations, I think it's pretty clear that Batman is much more passionate and driven. From the very start of being a child, up until, for right about now, his late 20s, early 30s, he had one goal, and he stuck with it. He never burned out at all. At all. That is killer. Meanwhile, Superman was born into it, and he was commanded to go do so. Is a superhero someone who takes orders? Is a superhero someone who just is born with great strength and can just do whatever with it and will follow orders? Or is a superhero someone who says, I care about you, and I'm going to try and make sure that your standard of living is better, so help me God. During the day, he uses his business to create bigger and better infrastructures for Gotham, and at night, he will fight crime and corruption because the cops can't do it, the politicians can't do it, he will do it. Methodology, or in this case, goals and where they're coming from. Superman, as I was inching at before, born with strength, just born with it. He never worked for it. He just woke up and had it. Never really manipulated too much in his younger years, but certainly did in his older years. Batman had to work for every ounce of strength he had. He was not born a hulked up kid. He was not part of any scientific experiment, never was exposed to radiation, never was exposed to cosmic powers of any sort. He's an average Joe who worked for it. Which is a bigger hero in this matter? I wanted to bring this back to a little, I wanted to work on a little bit of what do we consider a hero today. I brought up a couple major images of different heroes we see today. Fall of 9/11, firefighters. We've got soldiers in Afghanistan. Sully Sullenberger, the man who landed the plane on the Hudson River miracle a year ago. No casualties. Way to go. And then lastly, we have this gentleman here, the Subway Superman, as they call him. In 2007, I believe it was, at the 137th Street in Manhattan. Man has a seizure. This gentleman helps him overcome his seizure, puts a pen in his mouth, helps him up, and as the gentleman gets up, he falls on the tracks. A train comes. The man jumps down onto the tracks and holds him off to the side as hard as he could. The train came by, they both survived. The train got so close, there's train grease on his hat from that very incident. These are heroes. They display courage, they display valor, but the number one thing that they display is they risk their lives for someone else. Batman risks his life every night he goes out there. Yes, he wears protective gear. Yes, he has a lot of toys. But at the end of the day, just like me or you, he can be harmed by the same things. Knives, bullets, missing his mark by jumping between buildings. Who knows? Superman, his life's never on the job. He can just get up and walk out there. Even if the whole planet is blown to smithereens, he can just go fly around the galaxy and see what looks cool. The man never puts his life on the line and cannot. This goes to his head, in my opinion.